What's up, positive bitches? How are we doing today? If you're hearing this episode, then you are meant to be here, so keep listening. On that Bitches Positive podcast, sometimes we will laugh, other times, baby girl, we're gonna cry, but we will always walk away feeling our most empowered, positive bitch self. That is babe in true connection with herself. Come on now, on this podcast, we unbecome who we are not, so we can fully step into exactly who we came here to be. Can I get an amen? Amen. Today we are going to continuously, because we've talked about it before, dive into hookup culture. Now, I've talked about the energetic side effects of energetic transference when it comes to hookup culture. So if you do want to learn more about that, I will link that episode in the show notes. We're going to talk about more of the 3D effect of how hookup culture can really block us from opening the doors that we want to enter through. We're also going to discuss a recent study that came out by Morgan Stanley that said by 2030, 45% of women 25 to 44 will be single and childless. What does this mean for us? Is it even true? Where are they getting this information? And so much more. But before we get into it, if you're not yet following me on Instagram at Vibin with Cece and at That Bitch Is Positive, be sure to follow me there so you can get daily tips and tricks on stepping into your most magnetic energy and just stay connected with moi. If you've not yet ordered your copy of Show Up As Her, be sure to do that as well. All the links will be in the show notes. And without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Yesterday, I was watching a YouTube video about this guy who said he's been waiting on God for weeks, months, years to open certain doors for him that he feels have been closed. And when he said he's been waiting on the Lord to open doors, my physical door in my room closed itself. And I thought, okay, what was that now? And immediately what downloaded into my body is that, and it's something that's quite obvious, I think, but for whatever reason, it was reinstated within me, which was that you have to close, and I'm getting goosebumps right now, you have to close the doors that aren't meant for you so you can walk and enter into the halls that were designed for you. So many of us, I believe, continuously engage in hookup culture because it scratches a 3D itch of, well, I don't want to feel alone. Well, I don't want to have to face the fact that I don't have that many friends right now. Well, I don't want to have to face the fact that I don't like where my career is right now. Well, I don't want to have to face these dark, scary emotions. So what am I going to do? I'm going to shove it down by distracting myself with someone else in the 3D. We are using hookup culture as a way to run from our darkness, but anything we run from is going to chase us. We cannot outrun our darkness. It is like a shadow and it will follow you into every room that you go into. You want to heal your darkness. You want to bring your darkness into the light. You got to dance with your darkness. You have to date your darkness. You got to look at your darkness in the face. You cannot run from it. And we've talked about the energetic side effects of energetic sexual transference that comes with being intimate with random strangers. When you're intimate with someone, it's like gluing two pieces of paper together and then trying to rip it apart. Energetically, it gets messy. You take on some of their trauma, some of their demons, some of their emotions, and you give up a lot of your energy. And then you think you're missing them, you're obsessed with them, but really you're missing the energy you gave up to them. Hookup culture, to me, is very much wounded masculine. It's thinking from our ego. And what I see a lot of us doing with hookup culture is we're making panic decisions. I can't feel this right now. I have to go talk to Brad. Oh my God, I don't want to face this feeling of loneliness. Oh my God, I'm going through a breakup. I just need to go out there. I need to do this. I need to do that. And we're depleting ourselves of our sacral energy. Our sacral energy is sexual energy and creative energy, because sexual energy is creative energy. Think about how a baby is made. There we go. Sexual energy and creative energy both come from our sacral chakra. Imagine what we could be doing with this energy if we weren't wasting it on Brad, Tom, and Jerry. Imagine. We're making panic decisions from our ego that isn't serving us. It is not serving us to be sharing our energy with everyone, taking on their trauma, and then we're still feeling terrible. If you're going out every single week and you're participating in hookup culture and you're realizing, you know what, I really don't even feel good, that is just a sign it's time to make a change. One thought form that I've experienced since my breakup that I have felt in my body that was from my ego was, well, if he's going out, if he's talking to other people, if he's doing this, well, I have to do it too. And so I was forcing myself to go out every single weekend. I was forcing myself to have the drink, to go out to the bar, to go out here, to see more people. And you know what? There's a reason I didn't have a podcast episode last week. It's because I got sick. Because my body was so run down, and I literally thought to myself, the only way I'll have peace staying in is if I'm literally sick, because then I know I can't physically go out. And what happened is my body listened to me, hello, strep throat, and I stayed in because I got sick. We cannot be living from our ego and expect to feel fulfilled, because your ego, it wants to make itself surface level happy. It wants to make itself feel safe, but really what it's doing is focusing on its 3D survival, and it has no concern for what's actually good for you. My ego wanted me to feel surface level happiness by go out, go see more people, go on more dates, go talk to more people. My ego was telling me I had to keep doing more and more and more and more, and my heart was hurting. It's like, whoa, you were just in a 7-year relationship. Maybe you need to slow down, regardless of what your ex is choosing to do, regardless of what anyone else is doing. Maybe you need to slow down, but my ego didn't want that. My ego wanted to rush. It wanted the noise. It wanted to just be in fog, because that's where it was comfortable. It didn't want to look at what my heart really needed, what my intuition really needed. I felt myself getting more and more and more depleted, and I wasn't even engaging in hookup culture. I wasn't being intimate with these people, but just the act of going out and talking and sharing your energy can be really depleting. I was wasting my own energy because I was living from my ego. I was listening to my ego. And if you're out there, wherever you are, if you're thinking to yourself, keyword thinking, I have to do this, I have to do that, and you're so tired, you need to take a step back. You need to rein it back in. I think a lot of the time we are trying to leave so many doors open because we're afraid to feel alone. We're afraid to face our feelings, and that's our ego talking. We're trying to have all these fish on the hook when we need to put the hook down so we can actually walk in the direction that's going to truly fulfill us. My ego wanted me to keep going out, keep distracting myself, but my intuition is saying, Cece, you want fulfillment? Go talk to God, go to the harbor, go read a book. You need to stay in, you need to reconnect with yourself. This external experience that your ego is chasing is not helping you. It's not doing anything for you. I think when we try to hook ourselves into hookup culture, and you know what's so interesting? Hookup culture, we get hooked by hookup culture. And it's almost like we're actually the fish on hookup culture's hook. It's like hookup culture is actually a living, breathing entity. And once it hooks us in, we end up getting a world of pain because we end up falling for the wrong people. We end up exchanging energy with lower vibrational people. We end up staying in things for too long. We end up talking to people who don't really value us, and that's why they're rushing us into the bedroom. You want a man to really want to pursue you? Well, then he won't be rushing you into the bedroom because he knows he'll have plenty of time to get there. Okay? Hookup culture ends up hooking us, and then we no longer even know how to use our free will because we get so emotionally entangled with people that we can't think straight. We waste our energy. We waste our time. We waste so much emotion on the wrong people too. It's like we're wasting our heart energy as well. I think that a lot of us are actually making our life more difficult, and we're getting in God's way. We're getting in God's way. I really do believe it. Like naturally attracts like. If you're looking at all the people you're attracting and you're like, this is terrible, you have to look at your own vibration and say, well, what am I bringing to the table energetically that might be affording me these results? A lot of us have forgotten about the principle of cause and effect. We are not just aimlessly floating in this energetic universe. A lot of what is happening in our life is happening because we're at cause and we're creating some sort of effect. If you're going out every single weekend, you're drinking yourself into a slumber, you're being intimate with everyone and their father, well, what kind of energy do you think you're going to attract? Because those actions hold energy. Action is thought reinforced. What is thought but energy? A lot of the time, we're using hookup culture as a distraction, but then the hookup culture ends up hooking us, and then we get in our own damn way. We get in the way of our divine plan. We get in the way of our energy, and then we just end up depleting ourselves of it. I saw someone paraphrase a Bible quote, and it was inspired by Romans 6:12-16. And what they wrote was, be wary of hookup culture. Lust is deceptive. It clouds your judgment and can make you think someone is for you when really they're a temptation from the enemy. You will not be able to find your spouse if you're consumed by lust and passion for people who are not meant for you. I want to take this up a notch. It's going to be really hard to be emotionally available if you keep getting hooked by hookup culture. If you're looking for your life partner, you can't keep opening the door to people who can't give you that. If you're looking for your life partner, you can't keep opening the door to people who only want to bring you into the bedroom. If you're looking for your life partner, you can't keep opening the door to people who you feel like you have to manipulate yourself so they'll like you. Newsflash, but the person for you, you're not going to have to manipulate yourself for. Your higher self and their higher self, the person that is meant for you, already knows you and that other person exists. Your higher selves already know one another. They're already trying to connect the dots. Don't make it harder for their higher self and your higher self to connect the two of you. Don't make it harder for your higher self and their higher self to bring you towards one another, because you keep opening doors to lower vibrational people that are hurting you. You have to realize you have so much more power than what you're using. And you have to be the one to close the door on people who aren't serving you, so that you can allow the door that you actually want to open to become unlocked. Because before you can even open that door, you got to get the energetic key. And how are you supposed to get the energetic key to your life partner when you're having all these doors open to people who are just feeding on your energy? Now that I'm talking about this on this podcast, it has dawned on me that hookup culture is an egregore. Let me explain what that means. An egregore is a concept from occultism and mysticism that refers to a thought entity formed by a group of people's shared beliefs, emotions, worship, and intentions. It is believed that when a group of people come together with a shared purpose, they can create a powerful energy field that takes on a life of its own. I want you to think about the holiday season. I want you to think about Christmas, for example. So many people have thoughts and intentions about what what Christmas is. They think about Santa Claus presents. And every year around Christmas time, there is a special magic in the air that many of us feel. It's because Christmas in itself is an egregore. Even if someone doesn't believe in Santa Claus per se, Christmas feels like a magical time because so many people are putting their energy towards it that Christmas itself becomes a living, breathing, energetic entity. Hookup culture is an energetic entity. To me, it is living, it is breathing. And once hookup culture gets its claws into you and hooks you in, it controls you. You are not in control of yourself. Once you become involved in this hookup culture, you start making decisions where you think to yourself, you're probably not thinking at all at that point, but you might be thinking to yourself as an afterthought, why did I do that? Oh, I didn't mean to do that. That was not intentional. It's not intentional living. It's making panic decisions based on our ego, or this entity is truly just moving through us, is how I really do see it. Everyone is so obsessed with detachment, and honestly, for what purpose, I don't know. I understand you don't want to be attached to random strangers at the bar. You don't want to be attached to an outcome. You don't want to be attached to a future scenario. But you also have to understand that our attachment system to other individuals is a strength that we got from survival of the fittest. Our attachment system has been passed down to us from our ancestors. It is not a weakness. Everyone is so afraid to actually have an attachment to another individual in a real lasting relationship that everyone's just running to hookup culture. What are we actually aiming for? I don't know. And if you are to say, well, I want to have fun, okay, is taking on other people's demons fun for you? Because I don't find that exciting. Is living unintentionally that exciting and fun to you? Because I don't find it as such. Is making panic decisions from your ego because you're actually trying to outrun your pain fun for you? Because I don't think it is. And yeah, I'm going to be real with you. You might not even realize why you're doing what you're doing. And that's why I'm here to point out your blind spots. I think a lot of hookup culture is the illusion of choice. When you go onto Netflix, there's an illusion that there's so many different things to pick from, but what do we all pick from the top 10? There's an illusion that there's an abundance of choice, but yet we're all watching the same thing because we end up just going with whatever Netflix is recommending. The illusion of choice makes people feel like they have such a wide range of choices, when in reality, the choices are somewhat limited, or not as much as they thought, or somehow predetermined. I think this happens with dating apps a lot of the time. There's so many people you can just swipe through that people have this illusion of, well, there's always going to be someone better. There's always going to be someone better. There's always going to be someone better. And partly, yes, if you're in a bad relationship, of course there's someone better. But to think that no one is ever good enough, well, you're just polarizing to the opposite end of the spectrum. And we have to find the Tao, the middle way, where we recognize, I suppose, that there could always be someone better, but who is a person I actually feel a connection with? If something doesn't feel like peace to you, get out. I said this before, but at the end of the day, do whatever you want. I'm just a life and energy coach, and I'm sharing what I know to be true and what I believe. You have free will, though, so you really get to do whatever the heck you want. You do. I would invite you, if you have been participating in hookup culture, to just try something different. I don't think that hookup culture gives people peace based on what I've seen with my friends, based on what I've seen with my clients, based on what I see on social media. I don't find that women specifically are finding peace in hookup culture, yet we're allowing ourselves to engage with it. And at that point, you really do need to hold yourself accountable and be like, oh, well, I'm the one participating in this. If I don't want to, that would mean I would have to stop. I think we also need to understand that we have a limited view. We talk about this a lot. If I was colorblind and you weren't, I would have to trust you to know more about the colors in this reality because I was limited. If we are limited by what we can see for our future, shouldn't we be trusting the all-knowing eyes, ears, and energy that is God? Think about it. Think about it. We also need to touch on this study that came out that said 45% of 25 to 44-year-olds will be single and childless by 2030. And the reason they gave for this is because single women are expected to grow 1.2% annually in the workplace from 2018 to 2030, compared with 0.8% for the overall population. So they're saying that more women are becoming financially stable on their own. More of them are entering the workplace. So therefore, they're not looking to have families and children. I don't know how accurate this study is, number one. Number two, this is not a reality we have to subscribe to. Just because a statistic or a study says something doesn't mean you have to become a part of a statistic. That's number two. Number three, there's also studies, if we really want to talk about studies, that show that in general, men are happier in a relationship and women are less happy in relationships because women usually take on more of the household labor. We're doing more of the cooking, the cleaning, the laundry. And so women's happiness tend to decrease, whereas a man's happiness tends to increase. So how do we bridge these studies that are happening? What do we think? Where do we go from this? A bunch of you were talking about this study and were wanting me to talk about it. So here are my thoughts, and then I'm going to go into the questions that you guys sent in. So first of all, I would be curious to know, well, how many men are going to be single and childless as well? I don't know why we're just talking about women. I would like to know about men as well. Number two, I think this is in part to a reaction from our parents. I mean, my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and she always told me, make sure you have your own income. She also says you'll probably want to be a stay-at-home mom eventually too, but she always instilled in me, make sure you have something that's just your own. Judge Judy says the same thing. If you want to be free on planet Earth, you do have to have some sort of financial stability in order to do that. So I think that we saw a lot of women feeling trapped because they didn't have any sort of income. They had no way of getting out of a marriage if they wanted to, if it was not a healthy situation. So I think from fear, a lot of us are like, oh God, well, I need to make sure that I have my own income and I'm doing this and that. So that could be part of it. I think another part of it is that we're living still in a very masculine, ego-wounded society where people are prioritizing ego things such as money and cars and homes. And don't get me wrong, you guys know I am a woman who likes the finer things in life. I will never lie about that. I definitely do like the finer things in life. So I'm not here to knock anybody's hustle. I think, though, we have to rein it in a little bit because feminism started out as something that was really great. We need equal rights. We need to have the ability to vote. If I'm doing the same job as a man, I should be paid the same wage. However, as with most movements, they get taken and molded into something else for someone else's agenda. And that is what happened with feminism as well. They now are saying, if you want to beat the man, become more like him. And I don't want to be equal to a man. I personally want to be treated better. That is my truth. So what I think is that a lot of us, why would this study even happen? I think a lot of us are moving from our ego. Maybe a lot of us are prioritizing our career because our parents, our mothers were like, prioritize your career so you're not stuck. I think a lot of us are, unfortunately, we don't actually know what's going to make us happy. And people are telling us a career will make you happy. And then we get the career and then we're like, oh no, actually this isn't what I want. What I want is a family. I want to be a mom. I want to stay at home. So what is my answer? My answer is you can't just let feminism or culture, hookup culture, you can't let people tell you what it is you truly want. You have to be a cognizant, conscious, aware human being. You need to wake up. You can't just listen to the voices out there that are saying, actually, in either direction, really, that, oh, you're 25 and you're not engaged? Oh, God, you're lost. You better get married tomorrow. We shouldn't listen to that. And we also shouldn't listen to, you better get that career, better get that bag, blah, blah, blah. It's just everyone's saying something. Everyone has an opinion. And you know what? No one knows what's best for you besides you. So you need to get quiet with yourself. You need to go inward. You need to find out what's truly going to make you happy. Maybe you go to college and you start out in a career and you're like, you know what? I actually don't want to do this. Okay. You will find your husband. Better yet, he will find you. That's another thing I realized. I was thinking after my relationship, like, okay, I'm going to go find my husband now. And now after 2 months, I have now realized I am not going to find my husband. He can find me. I will be resting on my pedestal. Let me know. Anyway, my point is we can't let these external voices tell us what to do because they're getting in our head and then our ego is driving us. Oh, you have to be the top of your chain at whatever corporate ladder that I can't even talk corporate. Did you hear that sentence? That made no sense. Oh my God. Okay, what I was trying to say is you have to climb that corporate ladder or you have to get married tomorrow. Oh my God, can everyone shut up? Shut up. Everyone shut up. I can't take it. I can't take it because in my life, I've heard both voices and they're both the same. They're coming from the same vein. They're just opposite sides of the spectrum. But either way, it's mumbo jumbo. No one can tell me what's best for me. I know what's best for me. I have to find my path, just like you have to find your own path too. I don't care whether you want to be at the top of a corporate ladder or you want to nurse 15,000 children. Either way, good luck, okay? That's what I think. But what I want for you is that you actually find out what it is you truly want, not what people are telling you that you should want. Because feminism is going to say you need to be at the top of that corporate ladder, and then your aunts and uncles are going to tell you you need to get married tomorrow. Maybe your parents too. So you need to figure out, wait a second, what do I actually want? I can tell you, my life does not look like anyone that I know. I don't know anyone else personally in my life who's creating content. Oh, I do know one person, but I really don't know many people who are creating content in the way that I'm doing, living life how I'm living. I don't know anyone who was in a relationship for 7 years and then decides to go through a breakup instead of getting married. I don't know. But you know what? I know it's right for me. And that's what matters. So don't compare yourself to Stacy and Rachel. You need to be asking yourself, what is it that I really want? And then you need to create quiet silence for yourself to actually find out what it is you do want. You might have to date yourself. You might have to take yourself to new places, try new hobbies and activities, read new books, get involved with different thought forms and systems. You might have to put yourself out there to find you so you can find what's going to make you happy. And sometimes we have to start out with what doesn't make us happy. Anytime I want to order food, but I don't know what I want, I'll start with what I definitely don't want. Well, I don't want steak and I don't want tacos. Maybe I'll get the Caesar salad. Start with what you don't want, and that will also help you clarify what you do want. Contrast leads to clarification. Okay, let's get into some of the questions that you have asked. One positive bitch asked, if a guy just wanted to hook up but you don't, is it okay to ghost? Do they need an explanation why? And she also asked how to stop feeling bad for ghosting someone that just wanted to hook up. So I think if you're not talking on a daily basis and they're just trying to bring you into the bedroom, there's nothing wrong with just unplugging and saying, I'm done. Not everyone deserves an explanation of why you have to leave their life, because a lot of them won't be able to receive it anyway and are committed to misunderstanding you. If you have a friendship with this person, if you have a real relationship with this person and you talk about your fears and your anxieties and you're talking every single day, well, then I would say, hey, look, this isn't working for me because you only want to be intimate with me and I want a real relationship, and just be like, I'm not interested. But if that is not the case and you talk only when he wants to hook up, you don't owe that person an explanation. You can just unplug. I don't think that's ghosting. I think that's repositioning yourself for a happier present and future. Do you think the study is because a lack of feminine energy? I think it's a lack of consciousness. It's a lack of being connected to ourselves, over reliance on our ego, and being in our wounded masculine, chasing the wrong thing. I listen sometimes to podcasts, and there's definitely people out there chasing the wrong thing. The money, they're trying to flex on Instagram. I mean, vomit city. That's not my vibe. I do think people are chasing the wrong thing because I don't think anyone has been truthful to them on how they can find their own happiness. Happiness for everyone probably comes in many different shapes and sizes. I don't think it's a one size fits all. Some people are happy working at the top of a corporate ladder, and that's what they want to do. And some people are happy working on a farm. Some people are happy being a teacher. Some people are happy just staying at home. I'm not here to tell you how to be happy, but I will invite you to find out how to connect to yourself so you can find your own definition of happiness. And that's really what this comes down to. And it was just 222 on my timer. Someone said men collectively need to step it up, right? Because we know our worth more now. That is definitely, I believe, part of this as well. We need to stop engaging in hookup culture so we are not under the veil of confusion and emotion. We need to be in control of our own minds and hearts. And the way to do that is to create space from hookup culture and instead connect to ourselves. Because again, we can't be connected to ourselves and door opened on ourselves if we have doors open to Tom, Jerry, and Brad. We need to be focused here to hear ourselves. So when you unplug from hookup culture, you're actually plugging into yourself. And that means plugging into your future self. That means plugging into your potential, plugging into God. I think that because women now have more opportunity in ways that they haven't in the past, we are higher on the corporate ladder. We can make more money. We have more financial freedom. Now we're thinking to ourselves, well, I want a guy who's equal to me, or maybe above me, can inspire me, or above me in different ways, where you can teach each other different things. You might know things he doesn't. He will know things you don't, and you can inspire one another. But I definitely think men do need to step it up. I feel like women are the most powerful things on this planet. I really do. And I think that if women stop allowing men to just get what they want in the bedroom, they would step it up. So actually, if we want men to step it up, what if we just took total responsibility and said, I'm no longer going to allow you to have all these pieces of me without giving me something that I truly desire? Because I am not one to give up my power. And I'm not one to tell you that we are just powerless. I'm not one to say, oh, it's the men's fault. No, it's all of our faults. Let's all wake up. What is anybody doing anymore? I truly don't know. We all need to wake up. It's everybody's fault. And if everyone takes total responsibility over what they're doing, imagine the world we could live in. I'm never going to blame a gender for all of life's problems. That makes no sense. And any person who does that, they're wrong, and they're talking from the ego themselves. Okay. Someone said, this scares me honestly. I want to have more babies and I want to be a wife in my lifetime. God's timing. Look, I just got goosebumps from that, because I think that when I went through my breakup, I was thinking to myself, I'm 26. I have to find my husband right now. I got to get on this, because in 3 years, if it takes that long to date, and then we want to get married, and then I'll be in my early 30s. There's definitely that narrative that's out there for sure. And that was my ego talking. And I've now realized God's timing, number one, but number two, I've missed my own energy. And like, it makes me almost very emotional. I'm like, it makes me almost, as I like am about to pour out, it makes me emotional how much I've missed me. Truly. Like, I missed me. And in relationships, men do feed on our energy, and that's not a bad thing. That is just something that happens in relationships. And I've missed pouring into myself for sure. And I've missed being able to really just focus on me. And then those fears came into my head too of like, oh my God, 26 next year, 27. Oh my God. And like, I get the narrative, but for me, that narrative quickly, I killed it right away. And the reason I killed it was because then I remembered, wait a second, God doesn't play jokes on his daughters. There's divine timing for everything. You can't force your baby to come out at 3 months if it wants to come out at 9 months. You have to understand that we are one with nature, and just like nature has seasons, so do we. We have divine timing at play in our life. And if we are trying to fight against it, we're just going to get frustrated and possibly delay it. So instead of engaging in hookup culture, or for me personally, not hookup culture, but instead of going out every weekend, forcing myself to go out and see people when I don't even want to, I'm listening to my body more than ever now and saying, no, if I want to just stay in and watch Bridgerton, that's what I'm going to do. If I want to stay in and just do a meditation, that's what I'm going to do. I know that divine timing is at play in my life. I know that I have different seasons, and I really do feel, for me, this is a season of growing and developing and really leaning into myself and pouring into myself. I might never have this time again where my main responsibility is just me. You might never have that chance and opportunity that your main responsibility is just you either. So why don't we take advantage of this? I will say, I think that participating in hookup culture does delay us because we get in entanglements. Then we might have to work out karma. Then we're getting emotionally involved with people who we shouldn't be emotionally involved with because they can never give us what we wanted. And they said that to us, but we thought we could convince them to change, but really we can't because they already know what they want. So yeah. Why do people care so much about others? Why can't they just be happy and live their own life? I mean, period. Most people aren't happy, and that's why they're so consumed with other people and what they're doing, because they're bored. How can I smooth my nervous system? My heart is racing so much. If you're having a season of anxiety, take your dominant hand and massage the back of your neck. This will help tone your vagus nerve. It's called vagal massaging or vagus massaging, and it will help relax your nervous system. Do more journaling, do more meditation, and do energetic transmutation, where you are taking these lower vibrational emotions and create beauty, create art, sing, dance, make a poem, whatever it is you want to do. What to do if I'm so afraid I'll never find my soulmate? It's hard for me to bond with people. Everyone should read my book, Show Up As Her, but also the book called Only Love Is Real by Dr. Brian Weiss, because it is so amazing and it really reminds you that your love that is meant to come into your life will come into your life, but focus on you in the meantime. Focus on your healing in the meantime. Focus on building yourself up in the meantime. Moral of the story is we don't have to subscribe to a reality we don't want to exist within. So if you're thinking, well, I don't want to be single and childless in that year. Okay, what do we actually do? Number one, I want you to make a list of the kind of partner you want. Not only do I want you to write down how they are, I want you to write down how they make you feel. So maybe you write, they're into fitness, they have a relationship with God, and then you're going to write how they make you feel. They make me feel loved. They make me feel safe. They make me feel seen. They're happy to be with me. They put me first. Okay, so you're going to make a list because we need to know what we want. Secondly, I want you to look at this list. Does it sound like you? And be honest with yourself. You want them to have a relationship with God, but do you? Are we reading that Bible? Are we going into nature? Are we connecting to God? Are we doing our meditation? Are we journaling? Are we sounding like our list? Because like does attract like. I don't like to think that we're just waiting for our person to come into our life. And I don't want to think that we're looking for them either. I like to think, let's live because we incarnated here to live. We incarnated here to have a purpose and a potential. Let's know what we want. But in the meantime, let's become our own dream girl. And if you become your own dream girl, that vibration is going to pull in your dream partner. I was thinking the other day, right now, I'm doing a lot of healing. I'm doing a lot of reflecting. I'm doing a lot of releasing and purging, not just from this lifetime, but other lifetimes as well. I'm sure of it. And if I were to align with someone right now, it wouldn't be a person I would ultimately want to be with because I am not where I want to be energetically because I'm going through another transition. Just think about it. Are you where you want to be? Do you feel like you are at a point in your life where your mind is where you want it to be, your health is where you want it to be, your home is where you want it to be, your career is where you want it to be? If not, those are all lovely things that you can pour into. Those are things that you can strengthen within yourself. I know that we all have things we could focus on if we really wanted to. I know we all have things that we could pour into if we really wanted to. But most of us are like, no, I'll just ignore that and I'll just get a partner to distract me. Maybe a partner would be a distraction from what you actually need to do in this season. What is this season inviting you to do? I think that when we take our present moment and we just juice it up and live within it, that is being in our divine feminine energy. That is being in our attracting energy. That is us truly being on our pedestal. And when we look at what this season is offering us and we say, you know what, I finally have the time to do what it is I want to do around my house, or I finally have the time to write that book or write that song. I finally have the time to reconnect with my friends or work on my spirituality or my relationship with God. That is what we ought to be doing. That is what we're being invited to do. The present moment oftentimes has a really good idea of what we need, and that's why it's offering it to us. The present moment is extending some energetic invitation to you, but what are you doing trying to think about something that is not here just yet? I think that when you lean into your present, you end up having so much fun, the time flies, and then that next future moment comes and you get whatever it is you want. Have your list of what you want, but also have a list of what you want to work on right now, what you want to strengthen, what you want to build up and pour into in your own life. I know I say this a lot, but at the end of the day, people come in our life, people will leave our life. At the end of the day, we just have ourselves. We have to go to sleep with ourselves, wake up with ourselves, eat with ourselves. We have to be in our body every damn day. Are you building a body and a life you actually enjoy existing within? And when you feel the loneliness, when you feel the boredom, when you feel the sadness, those are not things to run from and plug into hookup culture with. Those are things to feel into. In that present moment, those emotions are inviting you to feel them out and wring them out like a towel so you can heal. Don't let these emotions keep stringing you back into hookup culture that is keeping you stuck, because doing the same thing will get us the same results. So if you want different results, we have to take different action. Feel into your present moment, whether it's sadness, boredom, loneliness. What is your present moment offering you? Do you feel like you're tired? Stay in, stay home. All will be fine. God has a funny way of working everything out for us. Your higher self and their higher self is working on the game plan. You don't have to worry about it. Worrying is worshiping your problems. Give it up to God, let go, and let flow. I promise you, if you don't want that reality, you don't have to have it. You can unsubscribe from it. Also, we don't even know if any of what they're saying is true. They're predicting, and energy is subject to change every second of the day. Energy is changing and changing and changing. That's why tarot cards, they can read the present energy that's around you, but energy is subject to change every second. And therefore, it really can only see one energetic timeline at a time when there's unlimited potentials. This study is just one potential. There's unlimited potentials for us to go on to. So really, it means nothing. It means nothing. Focus on you. Strengthen the areas of your life you want to see a little bit stronger. Pour into yourself. We're on this journey together. Everything I'm learning, I will give to you as well. But I'm telling you, this is a season that we lean into ourselves. I've never felt anything so strong. If you're enjoying this podcast, please leave a positive review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It helps this podcast grow, means the world to me. And if not for me, do it for you, because good karma. And of course, if you've not yet gotten your copy of Show Up As Her, be sure to get that. It will be in the show notes. We dive into all of laws of magnetic energy and so much more. And of course, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Vibin with Cece for daily tips and tricks on magnetic energy. I'll see you in the next one. Mwah.